conditioned as a point on Bitcoin here as AJ. I see a potential breakout near term, maybe 25 maximum. And then I still think we have another leg lower to go. I don't think we're at the bottom like Chamath's saying. I just don't see it in the charts just yet. You know, I'm sure there's some bigger investors that are inching in a little bit, but I don't see the big adoption yet, not until we get the regulatory kind of points that the SEC is putting out. I think we have to just remember that, the biggest money out there, pension funds, the biggest hedge funds, they can't put money into Bitcoin and other cryptos until they have the framework from the SEC. Once they get the rules, then we know what to play by, right? So then hedge funds are going to start to take positions. So for me, I'm kind of in the same conditioned as a point on Bitcoin here as AJ. I see a potential breakout near term, maybe 25 maximum. And then I still think we have another leg lower to go. I don't think we're at the bottom like Chamath's saying. I just don't see it in the charts just yet. Yeah, so we'll take a look at it here real quick. And you're right. I mean, it came back so quickly. It almost doesn't even look like anything on the daily chart here. And you can see, again, this is the daily chart going back to basically the June lows. And here you have a basic wedge pattern, right? So wedge patterns tell you there's a lot of consolidation, which tells you that the market's not that concerned about what Texas is doing. If the market was concerned, you would have been breaking to the downside and going down, and it would have been a bigger move. The breakdown would take place. In this case, what it tells you is you're still stuck in this consolidation range, and whichever way you break, a wedge pattern says whichever way you break, that's the big move, right? So you're consolidating, you're digesting, you're getting ready for that big move. Can it break to the upside? If it does, you're probably talking about 28, 29 bucks. If it breaks to the downside, though, you got to look at that low of around 21 or just shy of 21. So bottom line is the chart's telling us consolidation. Look for which trend line it breaks. That'll be the way it goes in a major way. Okay. Yeah, I think, and keep in mind, there's a lot of this kind of stuff. These quick flushes are like, they can be running stops, which just are added selling. And then as soon as those stops are run, it just pops right back up. So there's some weird stuff that goes on there with orders out there. Yeah, so definitely taking a look at the chart here, and what we could see is that you're right. You had this huge wedge pattern. We just talked on the last chart about a wedge pattern. Well, here's an even bigger one, right? Going all the way back to the all-time highs on XRP and these lows.
Don't remind me.
You can actually see that when you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So you could see when it broke out, it was like an explosive move. So that's exactly what wedge patterns do. Whenever they break the wedge, there's this explosive move. Now, what we've seen over the last month or so is what's called consolidation. It's actually creating what we refer to as a bull flag. So again, you just never know for sure, especially when it's based off some judge's whim or a decision like this. But right now, the chart would be consolidating. And you're right, it's performing amazingly well in an otherwise pretty, quiet crypto environment. So right now, you'd be very positive on the Ripple chart. Yeah. So number one, and I love showing this. I love that you bring this up. So number one, when you broke out, look at how you had this explosive move to the upside, but then look at where you pulled back to. And if you take these levels right here, all that line across, you can see how the pullback tagged that to the exact key, which is basically what I call the retrace to the scene of the crime, being the breakout and then kind of a retrace down there. Now, if you go to the upside, where's your next resistance? Well, number one, look at the high here. This low, draw that across. You get this high. So if you can break through here, your next big level of resistance is going to come right in here at around 70 cents. You can see this pivot low and this pivot low. If by chance you fail and you start to break to the downside, this is now minor support and you probably go back to like 32 cents. So again, chart is the probabilities of the chart definitely are positive here. Not overwhelmingly, but I'd say like 65, 75% upside potential.